see glory on each face, and surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. Surely the presence of the Lord is in this place. I can feel His mighty power and His grace. I can hear the touch of angels' wings. I see glory on each face, and surely the presence of the Lord is in this place.
Good morning. I'd like to welcome you to the Sunday morning service of the People's Church of Divine Prophecy. We are located at 125 West International Speedway in Daytona Beach, second floor of the Daytona Books and Metaphysics. Please join us.
It is my great honor and privilege now to introduce our speaker for today, the pastor of the People's Church of Divine Prophecy, Reverend Steve Adkins. Steve has been a spiritual worker for over the past 25 years. He is an evidential medium, and he has worked on 3 continents. He is a fabulous healer and teacher. Please join me in welcoming Reverend Steve Adkins.
Thank you, Ann. Getting a little technology oriented. We're wireless here today. So. Thank everyone for coming here this morning. It's always nice to have some people show up. Nobody showed up. I think when we first started doing this, Ronnie and I and Jody were giving lectures to each other. Definitely come a long way, and I appreciate everybody's love and kindness for being here. I'd like to talk today about your life in general, my life in general. Today's subject is going to be the journey is the experience. This all came to me partly last night when I was watching the YouTube. I have a wireless connection and I can punch YouTube videos on my TV. And we were, every night, me and my wife sit there and we go through different recording artists and pull them up. And a couple of weeks ago it was Creedence Clearwater Revival, and saw a bunch of their old music, and then it was a couple of other old rockers. And last night it was Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings. We came upon Johnny Cash's last recorded song, and it's called Hurt, H-U-R-T. And it's really a profound song. It's not that country. I mean, it sounds a lot like a folk song. The old folk singers, Joan Baez and that. If you've never heard this, I would really strongly encourage you to look it up on YouTube and listen to it, because it's really profound. He talks about his life in general, recounts his past experiences. And, you know, he died from cancer, and he was going through chemotherapy at the end. And his opening statement was, "I hurt myself today to see if I could still feel." And he says, "The needle tore a hole in my arm and tried to take all my memories away." He said, "But I fought with my life." And it starts showing all of his past life, with him walking up to the house that he was raised in, with him and his wife June Carter and his friend Waylon Jennings. It's just going back over all these times and what really meant something to him, and where he's found himself at now with most of his friends gone and his family's gone. And it's just a very moving experience, because some of the things that he says was, "I give you all this kingdom of mine, my kingdom of dirt, and go 1,000,000 miles away and become who I was, not his self here and now. Go away and start again." And what he's talking about is he finds himself, he says, "I'm sitting on this liar's throne wearing a crown of thorns." And what that means to me is he's sitting in a place where he really hadn't planned on being, saying some things that maybe aren't from his heart, and having to wear a crown of thorns for the people around him like Christ did when he was supposed to be suffering for everybody's past transgressions. So he's sitting here at the end of his life, looking back, wishing that he had still the energy and the love of life that he had when he was younger. And what this says to me is that, again, too many times in our lives, and especially me with mine, look at my sound radio. Too many times in our lives, we find ourselves hurrying to get done with things, hurrying to get finished with an event that we're involved in. And that seems to be our mode of operation through a lot of our lives, is hurry up and get this thing done. You know, I want to get it completed. That seems to be the physical drive. And while this may be true of our working life, our personal lives are not like that, should not be like that. Our personal lives, our journey through this life as a spiritual being and as someone who is trying to walk a path of personal experiences, should not be to hurry through and get things done, regardless of whether it's a pleasant experience or an unpleasant experience. As I said in my talk earlier today, about not rushing through things and letting these trying times be a journey rather than that which defines you. This is true again of our whole life. Our life is meant to be experienced for whatever God puts before us, whether it's trying or happy. The trying times are generally to help other people. Whether we can bear it or not is our choice. But a lot of times, and I myself have been in this situation, as I've said in my last lecture, about family. Family that keeps coming to you time after time with the same troubles, and you explain to them what they need to do, and they choose not to do it. Now, to say that doesn't hurt my heart as a father would be incorrect. But to say that I feel obligated to fix that for them is true. I don't feel obligated to fix that for them. They're adult children, they're not little children anymore. They have their own lives and they have to get through it just like I had to get through it. I'll be there to keep them from getting too badly hurt or fall too far astray, but I will not take the steps for them. And too many times when we get involved with somebody, our sense of compassion moves us to take the steps for them. Oh, well, I'll just carry them a little bit here. And generally all that does is continue the problem rather than let them work through it. I know that a lot of times in our own minds, we want to hurry with things. Hurry up and get to the weekend so I can enjoy the weekend. Hurry up and get to the holidays so I can have time off. Hurry up and do this. And what happens is we wake up one day and we find out that we've hurried by our entire life. I mean, if I look back over my last 10 years, I can hardly believe where it's gone. And that's what a lot of it's been, is hurry up, hurry up, hurry up. And I've blasted through a lot of really fine experiences that I could have had. I think that one of the most difficult things my father said was to me one time, he's passed the spirit some years ago. He passed the spirit at 45, his age of 45. And he said to me one time, he said, "What's the worst emotion that you can feel?" And I said, "Hate, no. Anger, no." He said, "It's regret. Because there's absolutely nothing you can do about it. All it does is hurt." So I would say to you, don't regret things that you haven't done in your past. God gives us the ability to wake up and make of our lives what we will every single day. It's our own minds, just like Johnny Cash saying in his song, sitting on a throne, a liar's throne. We find ourselves many times being moved into this liar's throne just to try to help somebody, to try to keep from hurting their feelings, to try to help them get by the moment. And we become someone who we're not, and we say things that maybe we don't fully believe at that time, thinking it's going to help them. But I say to you that if you know who you are, if you trust who you are, and you trust God is moving you every breath, every day of your lives, then you can't help but feel that where you find yourself at is where you're supposed to be at. I know we've heard that cliche 1,000 times. And the problem with cliches is we tend to just shut it off after we hear it. We don't investigate it. We don't see how it pertains to our lives. I know that many times I found myself in difficult times through my life. And years later, I run back into the people that I was involved with then. And they say, you know, the way you acted back then really helped me at that time. And I didn't really think it was that profound or that helpful. But when you act within the moment, within the inspiration of God, you change lives one at a time. Whether you're a trained psychic, a trained minister, a human being desiring to help somebody is inspired as much by God as a trained sensitive. Believe me. And you will be in the moment you need to be in when you need to act in that fashion. It can be as something simple as an anonymous, random act of kindness, standing in a line, seeing somebody really distressed, asking if you can help, asking if there's something you can do to perhaps soften what's going on with them. And you'd be amazed at how many people will maybe not go sit down in a corner with you and bend your ear for 20 minutes, but a 60-second conversation can change their lives. God moves through you in that moment. And if God moves through you in that moment, God can move through you all the time. That's the good news. We have to have this trust in God. If you don't have that trust in God, you find yourself moved about, you find yourself becoming the insanity instead of moving through it. You find yourself stuck in this place. One of the biggest things that you can do to help move your spiritual life along is in the fashion that I've been speaking about, to be of service to others, to show love without carrying the person. Carry the message, not the person. Because if you carry the person, all you do is continue the problem. Now that doesn't mean let somebody starve to death if they don't have anything to eat. And I spoke about that last week. One of the things in the Bible, as well as in the spiritualist literature, Christ said, if you have 2 coats, give one away. Christ didn't say give both of them away and I give you another one. You have to honor the gifts that you have. You have to honor the blessings and the challenges in your life. If I were to give someone a ring or something or a coat, if I saw him cold and I gave him a coat, and the next week I saw him and I didn't see the coat, I said, well, did you like the coat? I gave it to somebody else. Well, I hope they don't expect me to give them another coat standing there shivering. They're not honoring the gifts that are given to them. So I'm not going to be real inclined to give them another gift, another helping hand. That's much the way that God is and God's blessings. You have to honor what's in your life. You have to take time for the simple things. To look out the window of your house. How many of us walk by a window 20 or 30 times a day, don't even look out to see what's outside that window, to see the flowers, to see the trees? I walk out in the morning and I take a minute to look up because I live out in the country and I see this beautiful expanse of stars in the sky above. I'm riding down the road in my car to go to Orlando every day And I ride down there and I see the stars in the sky, and I wonder how many people, the hundreds of thousands that drive down that road around here, are taking a moment to see that expanse as they drive across that bridge, see the sun rise, see the moon setting. These are the simple blessings, and while it may not give you guidance in your life, it gives you a moment to contemplate on something beyond you. Give your mind to contemplate on something greater than you. These are the simple things that we have to honor. And if we find ourselves in a challenging situation, we may well feel, why am I being put in this situation? Well, I would say to you, who would you choose to be standing here and dealing with this other than you? Is there someone you know that you would say, hey, put that person here and let them deal with this instead of me? I don't think any of us would do that. We may wish someone else was there, but we wouldn't like to be the one that chooses a specific person that has to stand there in our place. So we know we have to honor all of these challenges. And when you feel that presence of God in the challenges as well as the happy times, you keep yourself defined. You don't let yourself be taken away by the situation, as Johnny Cash says in his song. I would still be myself if I had the choice. And that's how you do it. What comes before you is a journey. It is not who you are. What happens to you is not necessarily a definition of your own spiritual evolution. It is not an indication of how spiritually evolved I am, the events I find in my life. Circumstances define a person. They are not who they are. And I know that's a little esoteric. But what you do is you find yourself in that moment moving along and taking the journey. Don't hurry along with the journey. Don't wish it was over, because one day it is going to be over. One day you're going to find yourself nearing the end of your life. One day you're going to find yourself wishing you could be involved in these challenges again. So don't hurry past what's going on in your life. Happy, sad, challenging, or rewarding. Breathe in that moment. Feel that trust. I had a vision one time about the Hall of Judgment where you go when you pass the Spirit. And in it you stand with God looking at the events of your life that flash before you like the saying that we hear. And the difference is that you have no ability to justify or reason or explain what you see. You see the events of your life in the true light of the grace of God. And you see them in the light of true balance. And what happens is your life is changed by that. And God's going to say to you, I gave you a wonderful planet full of wonderful things and people to experience. How would you like it if he said to you, you spent most of your life working. You spent most of your life distressing over things. Or you spent most of your life accruing possessions, the kingdom of dirt Johnny Cash talks to about. You missed it. That was your vacation. That was your time of true sensual and personal enjoyment. And I'm not advocating becoming a hedonist like I was for a while. Now the real journey starts. Now the real work of Spirit starts. So I would say to you, take time, enjoy the journey, or at least maintain your sense of who you are as you go through it. Our whole walk on this life is an attempt to find our divinity. It is an attempt to feel that intimate connection with God. That's what our spiritual challenge is here. get ready to close, I would like to read one thing out of the spiritualist hymnal. And it's called Hiding Man's Divinity. The gods, having stolen from man his divinity, met in council to discuss where they would hide it. One suggested that it be carried to the other side of the earth and buried. But it was pointed out that man is a great wanderer and that he would find the lost treasure on the other side of the earth. Another proposed that it be dropped into the depths of the sea. But the same fear was expressed, that man in his insatiable curiosity might dive deep enough to find it even there. Finally, after a space of silence, the oldest and wisest of the gods said, "Hide it in man himself, for that is the last place he will ever think to look for it." And it was agreed, all seeing the subtle and wise strategy. Man wandered over the earth for ages, searching in all places high and low, far and near, before he thought to look within himself for the divinity that he sought. At last, slowly and dimly, he began to realize that what he thought was far off, hidden in the pathos of time, is nearer than the breath he breathes, even his own heart. Thank you.